Gentlemen, neither of you are really saying what you're going to do in terms of spending cuts or tax rises after the election. So let's try something different. Why don't each of you tell us what you think specifically the other guy is going to do in terms of tax rises or spending cuts? Well, you've been saying Anthony Albanese's in charge of wants death duties, for example. Let's see if you say that here. And while you're at it, given we're talking about debt, can Jim Chalmers name the net debt? OK.
Thank you.
But you could mention the debt figure for 22-23, just putting it out there for you.
We might start with Jim Chalmers this time.
OK, well, net debt $715 billion for 22-23 in the budget that was just released. On the issue of what I fear from this government, I fear that they will continue to ignore this cost of living crisis. And I fear that this government will continue on the path that they've created for the best part of a decade now. The biggest risk at this election is that nothing changes at all. You know, it takes an especially out-of-touch Liberal Treasurer in the context of skyrocketing inflation out of control and falling real wages and rising interest rates and consumer confidence plummeting. His key argument at this election is he wants to stay the course. Why would Australian families want to stay that course? That course that this government has us on is punishing people. They're falling further and further behind. Their household budgets are getting pummeled by this triple whammy, this cost of living crisis. And so my big fear and my message to anybody who might still be watching is that the biggest risk here in this election is 3 more years of the same. Now, at only a Liberal government, a Liberal Treasurer, a Liberal Prime Minister, this out of touch, would see the inflation numbers, the real wage numbers, rising interest rates, all the rest of it, and think that what Australians really need is more of the same. More of the same, from more of the same of this government, is absolutely punishing people, and we can't stay on this course.
My greatest fear is that if Labor got over the line, they would revert to their natural instincts to tax more and to spend more. Instincts that were on full display when they thought they had the election in the bag last time. When you go to their national platform, it spells out increased spending on aid, increased spending on a paid parental leave scheme, increased spending on childcare. We've totalled up the cost of that increased spending. It's more than $300 billion. Yet any hard question, and Jim will dodge the answer. And that's the reality. He's the same shadow treasurer that was shadow finance minister at the last election who described small business as the top end of town. He was the one who said he was proud and he was pleased of a retirees tax and a housing tax. And he's the same shadow treasurer that said a housing policy that did not tackle capital gains and negative gearing was a shocker. They're not my words, they're his. So if you ask me what my biggest concern is that what he is saying to you today is not what you can believe. You cannot take it to the bank. Because Anthony Albanese, who's championed higher taxes his whole life, whether it was a carbon tax or a mining tax or the higher taxes of the last election, backed up by his then shadow finance minister, will do the same if they get half a chance.